Shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahakwadash, double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Mill Standard Rule Well. Sincere shalom to all of the elect of the nation of Israel, starting with the 144,000 elect men and the rest of the elect destined to be saved. I'm the Brother Caliph from the GMS England London Forecasters Camp, coming back at you with another lesson to help edify those I spoke of. I like to start my lessons by saying that we are the real Hebrew Israelites, and the real Israelites are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians and West Africans predominantly, but you will find Israelites that do look like the other nations, because we as a people have been scattered among all the nations. But if your seed line by your forefathers goes back to the man in the Bible that was named Israel, then you too are an Israelite no matter what you may look like, because Numbers chapter 1 and the 18th verse tells you that your nationality is determined by the lineage of your forefathers. So I've been thinking recently that I want to do more lessons on this particular topic of exposing how the Bible has been used in many places in popular culture, which a lot of people don't even see or recognize because maybe they're unfamiliar with the scriptures, or maybe they just can't haven't ever thought about just how much the Bible has influenced so many facets of our society. Even in Esau's empire, where Esau tries to act like the Most High doesn't exist or the scriptures have no validity, when you really start to examine things through a scriptural lens, you'll see, hang on a minute, this is all straight out of the Bible, man. Because Esau can't hide it. Because at the end of the day, Esau's not really very creative. All he can do is try and remix what's already there. And what you'll tend to find out is that I'll speak from my own experience. I'm really into certain things like, popular culture things, certain movies, comic books, stuff like that. I've always been into. And what I noticed a lot of the times is things that I really like or enjoy always tend to have a common thread running through them. And that thread tends to be that, first and foremost, it's because these stories tie to biblical stories, or they have biblical elements, but they've just been remixed and presented in a different way, a more modern take. But really, the core essence of the story that's being told really draws from the scriptures. Or a second thing that I found is because I'm kind of into the creative side of things, so I'll look at, okay, who wrote this song, or who directed this movie, or who did the set design, or who did the costumes. I tend to look into these things, and what I tend to find is it's oftentimes a lot of the same people who have worked on different projects, and that tends to be the reason why I like it, because it's the same creative mind, or same creative team, or same composer. I tend to like particular people's works, and I'll see them and I'll be like, oh, hey, oh, that guy done the designs for that creature in that movie, or that person designed the costume for that person in that movie, or wrote the song. I tend to see the common thread in things that I like. And when I first started looking into this stuff, it was quite fascinating, because at first I didn't know. Like, I didn't know that, oh, well, that guy, oh, he wrote the script for that, and oh, that's why I like this and that. It was quite fascinating, and actually very interesting, because you, part of being how should I say, part of growing and maturing is learning to understand yourself, learning to know yourself, and learning how to better yourself, to work at removing the elements that aren't good, and replacing them with more positive elements. We're always working on that. That's part of the process of being alive. The scriptures clearly say that as gold is tried in the fire, acceptable men shall be tried in the furnace of adversity. And what's the reason for gold being put into a furnace? To remove the dross and the impurities. So the lives that we live are basically about chipping away at the elements that are off and don't serve us, and hopefully eventually becoming the sculpture, the image that the Most High wants us to be, which ultimately is to be God's. You know, is it Psalms 82 verse 6? I have said ye are gods, but ye shall die like men. You shall fall like one of the princes. Roughly paraphrasing, but the point is that we're all supposed to be trying to be on that road to redemption and perfection, which will really take place when Yahweh Shai returns and raises us up. But my point being is that it's important to know yourself, yeah? And when you know yourself, then you start to understand the world a bit better. And when you start to understand the world a bit better, things start to make sense. You know, you start to see the world through a more spiritual perspective, and nothing's random anymore. You know, a lot of people think, oh, well, this is just random. This just happened. That just happened. No, everything is orchestrated by the Most High. So bringing me to the point, I want to start doing more videos exposing how the scriptures influence a great many things in this life, and how to deny the scriptures is just folly. You know, a lot of people want to scoff and say, oh, the Bible's just a book of fairy tales and it's got no relevance and bearing on this world. Yeah, well, guess what? All these film directors, they know the scriptures, man. And they know what they're referencing when they put these things into popular culture. So let me give you an example here. This is a scene from the TV show back in the day, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which really is based on an older Japanese series called Super Sentai, but they took elements, some of the costumes and the elements, and they adapted it into the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for the Western market in 1993, and it became very popular. It was a huge show back in the day. Back in the day, I didn't really like it much because at that time I was like, what, 11 when it came out, and it just seemed stupid, and I could see that the image, the show was a cut and paste job, and I was thinking something don't feel right about this, and they made it very childish. But as I've grown older, I've gone back and examined certain things of it because I'm just interested in, you know, where does this idea come from, or where did they get that reference from? So I've studied it with a more critical eye, and in doing so, I've seen certain things in it which has definite ties to the Holy Scriptures. Now, on this, I'm going to show you a scene here. What you can see on the screen is a snake. And this scene is from the beginning of season 2, where they introduced one of the Power Rangers main villains, which is a character called Lord Zed. And as you can see, he's got a snake here. Now, this is his first introduction. I'm going to play this scene, right? And then I'm going to show you where they got this reference from in the Bible. So let me play the scene. Take it back to the beginning.
Oh no! Where is he? Where is he?
I am Lord Zed, Emperor of all I see. You have failed to complete the mission assigned to you. I will now resume command. Prepare the palace for my return.
And another thing I'd like to point out is pay attention to the music. Again, this is something that personally I'm just really into, you know, animation, visual art, music, cinematography, stuff like that. A lot of times when people watch TV shows or movies, they forget to focus on the whole composition. Like, they might be watching the images and the story, and they forget that the music's actually helping to tell the story too. See, music is very powerful, and that's why a lot of the best films have really great scores, you know, because they know how to use the instrument of the orchestra to evoke certain elements. For example, using simple composition ideas. You know, with the instruments of the orchestra, you've got a range. You've got instruments that are lower on the frequency range and instruments that are higher. So usually when you see like characters that are more ethereal or like a fairy, usually those characters will be accompanied by something like an instrument that's got a very high high range, such as a flute. You know, think about, like, for example, Peter Pan and Tinkerbell. You know, when you see Tinkerbell, she's this little fairy character that's flying around. Usually that would be accompanied by some type of high instrument like a flute or a piccolo. You know, something on the high how do you say, frequency range. Whereas a character that's more big and bulky and numbering, like a giant or something, they'd probably usually be accompanied by like a trombone or drums, something that's on the lower frequency side. So composers, film composers, like film composers, they know these things and they use these elements because these elements have values within themselves. Like they connote things just through their existence because the Most High created it to be that way. Just like, for example, colors. Colors have meanings and symbolism to them, and oftentimes the great film composers, great film directors will know exactly how to use colors to evoke certain elements. I'll use an example, case in point. If you look at a major film director, James Cameron, he's done a lot of big Hollywood movies, a lot of them very good. He tends to use the color blue a lot in his palette, in his films. Like if you look at Aliens, very, very blue hue to the film. The Abyss, even Titanic. His most recent films would be the Avatar films, and their primary palette is blue. And it's no coincidence that he's, what do you call it, an oceanographer. He's into deep sea diving and deep sea exploration. So he tends to put that element in his films to evoke that kind of feeling of coldness. Because blue has the natural, it evokes feelings of cold because that's what it's associated with. You think of the sky, the sea, the ocean, these kind of elements. Blue is associated with cold, whereas warm would be more associated with oranges or yellows or primarily reds. Nature is usually exemplified by greens, blues and browns because that's what you tend to see in nature. But I'm kind of getting a bit deeper and off topic of what I'm saying. But the point of the matter is, focus on this scene and pay attention to the music because I'm going to show you how the composers have also tied into the theme, which ties straight back to the scripture. So let me continue playing the scene.
He's gonna ruin everything!
But where is Lord
Where
Zed?
he belongs, his chamber of command.
I got such a headache.
Deal with it. I'm going to meet my emperor.
Hey, wait for me!
We should check this guy out. Come on. I welcome you back, my emperor.
Did you see what he did there? What scripture comes to mind in terms of what he just did? Right? I'll play it again, see if you catch it, and then I'll point it out. I'll explain it, see if you catch it. Right. Did you see he just turned a serpent into a staff? That's exactly what happened in the scriptures when Moses went to confront the Pharaoh. And let me get this in the precepts. Hang on. If I go to my scriptures. Where are we at? Exodus, the 7th chapter. Start from verse 1. And Yahweh said unto Moses, see that I have made thee a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet. Thou shalt speak all that I command thee, and Aaron thy brother shall speak unto Pharaoh, that he send the children of Israel out of his land. Because at the time you were captives in the land of Egypt, right? And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt. But Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that I may lay my hand upon Egypt, and bring forth mine armies and my people, the children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt by great judgments. And the Egyptians shall know that I am Yahweh, when I stretch forth my hand upon Egypt, and bring the children of Israel from among them. And so Moses and Aaron did as Yahweh commanded them, so did they. And Moses was fourscore years old, meaning he was 80, because a score is 20. So 20, 40, 60, 80 would be 80 years old. So yeah, Moses was 80. And Aaron, fourscore and 3 years old. So Aaron was actually older than Moses. And this is another example. And there are many examples in the scriptures of the Most High favoring the younger rather than the elder. You know, you had Cain and Abel. Cain was the elder, Abel was the younger, and the Most High favored Abel. You've got Jacob and Esau, which is Cain and Abel in the reincarnation, and the Most High favored Jacob. You've got this example here, Moses and Aaron. Aaron was the elder, but the Most High was dealing with Moses. Another example is Ephraim and Manasseh. Manasseh was the eldest, but the Most High favored Ephraim. And, you know, you can look at King David too. King David had elder brothers. David was the youngest, but he was the one that was anointed by the prophet Samuel. So there's many examples throughout scriptures of the Most High showing favor to the younger. But anyway, it says Moses was fourscore years old, and Aaron was fourscore and 3 years old, when they spake unto Pharaoh. And Yahweh spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, when Pharaoh shall speak unto you, saying, show a miracle for you, thou shalt say unto Aaron, take thy rod and cast it before Pharaoh, and it shall become a serpent. So this is they're referencing Exodus 7 and verse 9. See, you'd think that, oh well, you know, yeah, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is just some shit, I've knocked it off screen. They'd think, oh yeah, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, yeah, this was some cool new concept that they came out with in the 90s, and it's got nothing to do with the Bible, or no, there's zero reference to the Bible, and there's nothing spiritual. No, man, you got to get deeper. Look beyond the surface, and like, no matter where you look, man, you're always going to find something that ties to the scriptures, because the Most High created this show. Really, the Most High created everything you see. Now, he may use certain people to bring things into existence, but everything goes back to the Most High in one way, shape, or form. You know, so basically, his fingerprint is in all creation in some way, shape, or form. Even if it's some off shit. Like, you think like you're watching some, like, a lot of these Edomites come out with these horror films like, you know, Friday the 13th, or you know, what is it? That one with Freddy Krueger. What was that called? A Nightmare on Elm Street. These demonic horror films. Yeah, they're very demonic, and they've got a lot of satanic elements. But guess what? The Most High is the king of terrors. The Most High created Esau to be off like that. So really, the Most High is responsible for those creations. He just uses certain people to bring things into existence. That's why people can't get too proud, man. People can't get too proud with what they do or they create, because at the end of the day, all praises, honor, and glory belongs to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. We're just vessels, you know. We didn't create anything, and I'm speaking as someone who I'm a creative person myself, and anything I come up with, any story I write, or any character I design, or any song I might compose, it's not me, man. It's really the spirits working with me and through me to bring these things out. But it's really the Most High who comes out with everything. The Most High who created everything, I should say. So as I said, a lot of these horror films, you know, I'm not really too into them too tough, because they're quite demonic. But, you know, I've seen a few of them just to study and analyze. Or some I saw when I was, you know, really young. They were just popular films at the time. When you really break it down, the Most High is the king of terrors. So he's the one who comes up with all these you know, demonic and horrific elements. And when you really break it down, a lot of these things actually do exist. Now, I know that's going to sound crazy, it will bug a lot of people out, but like, take the concept of the Alien, for example, H.R. Geiger's Alien design. yes, it's a science fiction creature that exists through people wearing these costumes, and they've got their sets and they run around and they direct it in a certain way to make it look real. But really, the Most High could make that thing exist if he wanted to in an instant, because he's the King of Terrors. And really, if we were opened up to the spiritual realm and we were able to see a lot of these demonic entities, we'd see that, hang on a minute, these things that we just thought existed in films, they're actual, based on real entities that look that way, but they're in the spiritual realm that we can't see. But the Most High created them. This is why if you were really opened up to the spiritual realm, you'd probably bug out and drop dead on the spot at the things you'd see, because your heart would your body probably wouldn't be able to comprehend it. You bug out, man. So bringing it back to this, I was reading Exodus. Let's read it again. And this is what I find fun, man. This is getting into stuff like this. It makes the scriptures come to life. It brings a whole new dimension to it, and it brings a whole new dimension to, things that we see every day. Because it's like when you start to infuse it with the scriptures or bring a spiritual element to it, it's like, damn, man, now it's getting deep. Now it's getting interesting. What you thought was cool becomes even cooler. So let's read on Exodus 7 and 8. And Yahweh spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, When Pharaoh shall speak unto you, saying, Show a miracle for you, thou shalt say unto Aaron, Take thy rod and cast it before Pharaoh, and it shall become a serpent. And Moses and Aaron went in unto Pharaoh, and they did so as Yahweh had commanded. And Aaron cast down his rod before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a serpent. Literally taken from the scriptures. Then Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers and the magicians of Egypt, and they also did in like manner as with their enchantments. For they cast down every man his rod, and they became serpents. And Aaron's rod swallowed up their rods. That's showing that the Most High's power is greater than the left-hand side power, because Egypt, Pharaoh, who was king of Egypt, he had his sorcerers and his magicians, and they were hella up into that left-hand side witchcraft. But guess what? The right-hand side, the Most High side, is always greater. We were reading about this at the camp yesterday, how Belshazzar was drinking out of the holy vessels that they'd stolen from the temple, and a hand appeared, and it started writing on the wall, and he called his sorcerers and his astrologers and his soothsayers, trying to get them to interpret the writing, and none of them could do it. And I believe one of his wives told him about Daniel and how he had interpreted great dreams and visions, and they called Daniel in to break down the interpretation thereof. And it goes to show again that the right hand side, because as Daniel was a righteous man, is greater than all the power of the left. There's a scripture that comes to my mind, a precept which says, "The wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand." I can't remember where it is, but that scripture just came to my head. I believe it might be in the book of Daniel, maybe the 12th chapter. But either way, the point's been made. I'm going to stick on this point. It says, and they cast down every man his rod, and they became serpents, but Aaron's rod swallowed them up. And he hardened Pharaoh's heart, that he hearkened not unto him, as Yahweh had said. And Yahweh said unto Moses, Pharaoh's heart is hardened, he refuseth to let the people go. But the point is about the serpents becoming rods. Now, bringing it back to this clip here, you could say, oh, well, that's just a coincidence. That's just a coincidence. Oh, you're looking too deeply into it. Oh, it's just a coincidence, right? Well, look. They've shown you it on a visual example. Lord Zed's serpent became his staff, right? Listen to the music track. Pay attention to the music, right? And you'll hear that it starts to use Egyptian elements right at the point when the serpent becomes a staff. They use an Egyptian motif. They change from the regular music and start bringing in these Egyptian sounding instruments to connote and evoke that essence of what they're trying to communicate. Because what you got to understand at the end of the day, this is all about communication, be it visual, be it auditory, be it through storytelling. They're trying to promote and evoke certain ideas in the viewer and the listener. Now, unfortunately, most people are ignorant of the scriptures. They're ignorant of history. So they don't see it on a surface level. But when you get spiritual and you get deeper, you'll see exactly what they're trying to say to you. So pay attention to the music and see how it changes when they show the serpent in it becoming a staff to a more Egyptian theme.
I welcome you back, Firebird.
You hear it?
I am Lord Zed. Identify yourself. Excellency, surely you remember me.
See that? So they knew exactly what they were doing. All the elements have been set up to basically they're trying to show Lord Zed as an emperor. What was Pharaoh? He was king of Egypt, emperor. Yeah. So then they show he's got a serpent. Then they play their little Egyptian flute, and then he turns the serpent into a staff. You can't tell me that ain't straight referencing the Holy Scriptures. I read it to you, man. You can go read it for yourself. I've read it to you already. But in Exodus the 7th chapter, that's exactly what happens. So there is, look, man, King Solomon said there's nothing new, there's no new thing under the sun. You know, can anybody say of anything this is new? See, it have been before, just in different forms. But the point's been made. Everything goes back to the Most High. He created the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, you know, and he put those elements in there. He put it in the mind of the creators to infuse those elements in there, and you know, he worked on all their minds from a visual standpoint, lighting standpoint, from a musical composition standpoint, from a storytelling standpoint. So the Most High is responsible for all things. So that's just been a quick lesson on this point. Lord willing, I'm going to do more lessons pertaining to this topic, because there's a great many things that I see in things that I'm into which straight up reference the Holy Scriptures. And again, you can't run from the truth, man. Anybody who says, oh, well, the Bible ain't real, it's just a book of fairy tales, it's got no relevance today, you know, that's ancient stuff, well, you're a damn fucking fool. You're a damn fucking fool. I ain't got no more to say, man. At the end of the day, the elect are going to see it, you know, but the rest of the people, they're still going to continue on in their ignorance unto their destruction. But really, this is for the elect. So with that, giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of great millstone that rule well. Shalom to the 144,000 elect men of the nation of Israel again, and to the rest of the elect destined to be saved. And I'll end this one there. Shalom for now.